Luokeng, the Demon Suppression Division. Qin Shaiyu put 3 sticks of incense on the statue of Jushin Dangmo Patriarch. Although he looked calm, he was very nervous in his heart, and he would run away if the situation went bad. Because the statue of Jushin Dangmo Patriarch in the Yaesi of Luokeng town is not an ordinary wooden statue, but a mysterious item with mysterious power, which has the magical power of insight and suppression of evil spirits. Qin Shaiyu was afraid of being suppressed by it. Of course he wasn't evil, but he wasn't the Qin Shaiyu he used to be. 3 months ago, Qin Shaiyu, the assistant police officer of the Demon Suppression Division, followed his father Qin Daoran on a mission. The result was that the target's strength was far beyond their imagination. More than 100 people went, only 8 came back alive. Almost wiped out. Qin Daoran was lucky not to die, but he was seriously injured and was in a state of lethargy. He could no longer fight against demons. He had to let Qin Shaiyu take over his post as a small banner officer in the Demon Suppression Division. But in fact, the former Qin Shaiyu was already dead, and the one who came back alive was a traveler from Earth. Also called Qin Shaiyu. He inherited the memory of this body and knew that this was a world of constant famines, bandits, and demons. The Demon Suppression Division is an institution established by the Imperial Court to deal with evil spirits. Knowing that his son wanted to inherit his father's business, Qin Shaiyu not only did not feel the joy of being promoted, but instead thought of resigning quickly. The casualty rate of Zhenyaesi is too high, he doesn't want to be killed by the demon again. However, after joining the Demon Suppression Division, there were only deaths and injuries, and there was no resignation at all. Qin Shaiyu even thought about running away. But although the world is in chaos now, the road guidance system has not been abandoned. If he runs away, he can only be a refugee or a bandit, and his death will only be faster. And if he runs away, all his parents and relatives will be implicated. Not to mention that he inherited the memory of the original owner, but to say that his seriously injured father brought him home with all his might, and his mother stayed by the bedside to take care of him, so he couldn't do such a thing. Non-vegetation, ruthless practice makes perfect. Fortunately, Qin Shaiyu also had support. As soon as he arrived in this world, he discovered that there was a cookbook that others could not see existed in his mind. In the recipe, there is only a medicated meal called Demon Wolf Blood Tofu. According to the introduction, it has the effect of strengthening blood. For a warrior, this thing is a great supplement, because the first step in a warrior's cultivation is to strengthen his blood. Although the main ingredient of this medicinal meal, the blood of the demon wolf, is a rare thing for ordinary people, but for Qin Shaiyu, it is not a problem. Just in the mysterious recipe, there is the blood of an adult demon wolf, and Qin Shaiyu can take it out with just a thought. In addition, in the past 3 months, Luokeng Town Yaesi has brought various medicinal materials and meat to the Qin family, including the blood of the demon wolf. After Qin Shaiyu was able to get out of bed, he followed the recipe and made the wolf blood tofu. But he didn't eat it right away because he had doubts about the mysterious recipe. After all, this is a world in which demons exist. Who can guarantee that this cookbook is his plugin, not a trick given to him by a certain demon? Qin Shaiyu didn't go to the door of a pharmacy next to Zhenyaesi until he did a lot of tests and determined that the demon wolf blood tofu would not cause harm to the human body, and carefully tried one. I chose this place just in case. If he is poisoned, he can find a doctor nearby for treatment. And if you are hit by evil, there is the Demon Suppression Division next to you, who can call for help in time. Fortunately, the worst did not happen. Not only is the demon wolf blood tofu not poisonous, the effect of strengthening blood energy is stronger than expected. Qin Shaiyu, who ate tofu with demon wolf blood every day, not only quickly recovered from his injuries, but also had more blood and energy than before, vaguely touching the threshold of breaking through to the 8th rank martial arts realm. It's a pity that Qin Daoran's blood energy has been dissipated, and the demon wolf's blood tofu has no effect on him. In addition to the mysterious recipe, Qin Shiyu had another source of support, and that was the person standing beside him at the moment. Shueqing Shan, the new boss of Luokeng Town's Demon Division, is the official of 100 households. He is also Qin Shiyu's third brother-in-law. Shueqing Shan noticed Qin Shiyu's nervousness and comforted, "Relax, it's just a process." Qin Shiyu responded vaguely, his eyes fixed on the statue of the Nine Heavens Dang Mo Patriarch, but what he thought was, "I also hope to just go through the process, I am afraid that the old man will not agree." Fortunately, the ancestor of Jushin Dangmo seems to be very face-saving. After looking at Qin Shiyu with big eyes and small eyes for a while, he slowly closed his eyes. The smoke of the 3 sticks of incense swirled up and was sucked into the mouth. Qin Shiyu breathed a sigh of relief, he knew that this scene represented that he passed the political trial. It seems that in the eyes of Jushin Dangmo Patriarch statue, the traversers are not evil. Shueqing Shan said congratulations, took out the waist card, saber and official uniform that had been prepared for a long time, and said with a smile, "The official uniform was changed by your sister, it will definitely fit you, hurry up and change it, I will take you to see you. Your subordinates." Qin Shiyu nodded in agreement, but first he pulled out his saber and checked it carefully. After he was sure that the blade was sharp and had no gaps, he was satisfied that he put the saber into the sheath and put on his official uniform. Shueqing Shan introduced the situation to him, the patrol officer's name is Zhu Zaihoki, he has read books, his brain is flexible, he is good at finding traces, and he has the ability to unlock the room. The shackled officer is a monk who has returned from secular life. He is known as Monk Ma. He has learned some Buddhist supernatural powers. These 2 are your deputy. There are a few more demon-suppressing warriors below. They are all brave people I specially transferred for you, who have killed demons and seen blood. After introducing the situation, Shueqing Shan said again, "Don't go to the next township and county, just stay with me and train your strength first. If you want to slay demons and make meritorious deeds, there will be opportunities in the future." "Okay." Qin Shiyu agreed very readily. Shueqing Shan was stunned for a moment. He thought that Qin Shiyu was young and vigorous, and he had just become an official. He would be anxious to prove himself by making meritorious deeds. He also prepared a lot of persuasion words. Not useful. How did he know that Qin Shiyu just wanted to hold his thigh tightly and grow up in the Demon Suppression Division? Resolutely do not waver. But this also made Shueqing Shan very happy, and said with a smile, "Your sister can feel relieved after knowing your choice." He waited for Qin Shiyu to change into his official uniform, and took him to the number 7 ward in the demon squad. When entering the door, Qin Shiyu found that the people in the room were divided into 2 groups. There were 7 or 8 people in the group, gathered beside a thin man, and were looking at a book attentively. On the cover of the book is written the law of the Great Summer, but there must be something else inside. Qin Shiyu didn't believe it. Just looking at the law, a group of rough men could raise the flag collectively. There was only one person in the other group, a strong bald man. Sitting in the corner, he was chanting scriptures, and when he saw Qin Shiyu and Shueqing Shan come in, he hurriedly coughed and got up and said, "See you, sir." Only then did the other group see Qin Shiyu and Shueqing Shan, and hurriedly closed the book and stood up to greet them. They also whispered to each other, "You're holding on to me. Stay away from me." Shueqing Shan stretched out his hand with a cold face, "Give me the book." The skinny man was the patrol officer Zhu Zaihoki. He was caught by the leader when he was fishing at work, which made him very embarrassed. He didn't dare to disobey the order, so he could only bite the bullet and hand in the book. Shueqing Shan ripped open the book cover, Qin Shiyu took a look, and sure enough there was something else inside. A palace book was wrapped in it. It's just that this palace painting is excellent, completely different from the version he saw on the internet in his previous life. The characters are lifelike, just like the portraits of Welfare G, with text and stories. This is a high-quality book. I didn't expect that there is such a good thing in the great Xia dynasty. Qin Shi was a little excited. Shui Qingshan's face sank, and he scolded his head, Zhu Zaiho Ki, you are so bold, how dare you gather a crowd to read this kind of book in the Demon Suppression Division? Today I'm going to peel your skin and let you get out. Get out of town, Demon Division. Zhu Zaiho Ki's face turned pale with fright, and he hurriedly pleaded. Shui Qingshan ignored him, but quietly gave Qin Shi a wink. Qin Shi understood in seconds that his brother-in-law was playing a black face to help him. He immediately said, Master Beihu, Zhu Sunyu is my subordinate, he made a mistake, and I, as a Shangguan, are also responsible. Yu Kanshu www.yuyuganshu.com is willing to be punished together, and also asks Master Beihu to recite his past achievements. Deal leniently. Shui Qingshan took advantage of the situation and shoved the Spring Palace book into his hand, humming, since you help him plead for mercy, you will be fined a month's salary, and this matter will be handed over to you. Immediately afterwards, he introduced Qin Shi to everyone. After he left, everyone gathered around and greeted Qin Shi. Zhu Zaiho Ki looked apprehensive, not knowing how the new Shangguan would punish him. Qin Shi looked at him and said sternly, Zhu Sunyu, I have heard a sentence, and I will use it to warn you today. Beauty is like a wolf, like a tiger, it will destroy people's will, let alone touch, you can't even think about it. Amitabha, your excellency is right. Monk Ma put his hands together and agreed. Zhu Zaiho Ki looked ashamed and hurriedly wanted to admit his mistake. Qin Shi changed his words, you must have a lot of books like this, right? I'll punish you for bringing me a few more books tomorrow. Hey! Zhu Zaiho Ki was stunned for a moment, thinking that he had heard it wrong. Don't get me wrong, I want to criticize them. Qin Shi said righteously. Zhu Zaiho Ki realized, and nodded again and again, tomorrow I will bring the book to the adults, so that you can criticize them well. However, when the adults are criticizing, you must take care of your health, pay attention to nutrition, and don't overwork yourself. Monk Ma was at a loss, feeling that the criticism Zhu Zaiho Ki said was not the same as what he understood. Qin Shi scolded with a smile and put the book in his arms. At this moment, the statue of Jushin Dangmo Patriarch in the Demon Suppression Division suddenly opened his eyes. Two pale eyeballs rolled out of the wood carving's eye sockets, fell to the ground and shattered. Immediately afterwards, 2 lines of blood and tears rolled out. The news of Jushin Dangmo Patriarch's eyes shedding blood and tears soon spread among the Luokeng Town Demon Division. This is something that has never happened before, and people rushed to check it out in shock. Even Zhu Zaiho Ki, Monk Ma, and the others were no exception, and they rushed over to join in the fun. They also called Qin Shi, but Qin Shi didn't dare to go. Jushin Dangmo Patriarch looks like his eyes shed blood and tears, isn't it because of me? After his subordinates left, Qin Shi tiptoed to the door and glanced quietly in the direction of the lobby, feeling very complicated. Fortunately, although everyone has different opinions and speculations about this matter, they have not suspected Qin Shi. The reason is simple, if Qin Shi really has a problem, when he is offering incense, the statue of the ancestor of Jushin Dangmo will issue a warning, and he will never accept his incense. Besides, the statue of Jushin Dangmo Patriarch of Luokeng Town Yaesi is a mysterious item at the mysterious level. It can make it shed blood and tears. How evil must it be? Qin Shi is only a 9th grade blood key warrior, how could he have such a skill? After figuring out what everyone was thinking, Qin Shi put down the stone hanging in his heart. Shui Qingshan immediately dispatched a large number of patrols and sentries to go to various townships and counties to inquire about the situation. He thinks that the ancestor of Jushin Dangmo seems to have blood and tears from his eyes, which must be a warning that something big is happening. He guessed right. Half an hour later, a fast horse rushed into the Yaesi of Luokeng Town. The knight on the horse was covered in bruises and blood, and brought an astonishing news: in Fangting County, which is subordinate to Luokang, there are demons from the Black Lotus sect who are rioting, burning, looting, slaughtering villages, and even making corpses as pawns in an attempt to attack the county. Previously, the ancestor of Jushin Dangmo seemed to shed blood and tears from his eyes, so he must be warning about this. Everyone made a judgment and immediately asked Xueqing Shan to fight. Qin Shi found out the relevant news of the Black Lotus sect in his memory. This is an evil cult full of evil, which advocates killing people to make trouble and killing people to practice. They even claim that if you kill a lot of people, you will be able to cultivate to the true fruition and attain the fruition status of Arhat, Bodhisattva, and even Buddha. In this season of constant famines, corrupt officials, and demons, the Black Lotus sect has attracted a group of desperados, making chaos everywhere, turning the world into a Black Lotus Buddhist country soaked in blood. For such a cult, the Demon Suppression Division has always suppressed it by means of thunder, and will never show mercy. This time is no exception. Xueqing Shan ordered all the staff immediately, led the team in person, and rushed to Fangting County. He didn't bring Qin Shi with him. Although the suppression of the cult was a great achievement, it also had great dangers. He didn't want Qin Shi to have another accident as soon as he returned to the Demon Suppression Division, so he would have to be killed by his wife. Qin Shi was very satisfied with this arrangement. Fighting and killing things is not suitable for him now, and it is better to be vulgar and develop. Qin Shi, who stayed in the Demon Suppression Division, although he found a fish in his work, was very attentive in his cultivation. He is very clear that in this world where demons are rampant, without enough strength, it is difficult to save his life by relying on Go alone. Even if you don't provoke ghosts, ghosts may come to you. Especially a handsome man like him, he doesn't know how many ghosts and banshees will miss him. If he doesn't train his strength, how can he protect himself? Qin Shi not only tempered his blood energy, practiced swordsmanship, but also consulted his colleagues who were good at lightweight kung fu. His idea is very simple: if he encounters a demon who can't be beaten, he must make sure that he can escape. At least, to outrun other people around. Colleagues also cooperated very well with Qin Shi's advice. Who let him have a brother-in-law of 100 households. Time turned to evening. Xueqing Shan and the others hadn't come back yet. However, the parade who passed the news said that as soon as Xueqing Shan and the others arrived in Fangting County, they defeated the Black Lotus sect demons who were trying to attack the county seat, and they were chasing and expanding the results and burning the demonized corpses. The battle went smoothly, which made everyone who stayed behind breathed a sigh of relief. When it was time to leave the office, Qin Shi, who had finished his practice, stopped Zhu Zaihokai, Monk Ma and others, and invited them to the Chunlin restaurant for a drink to enhance their relationship. When I heard the news just now, Zhu Zaihokai, Monk Ma and others were still a little reluctant. It's not that they have any opinions on Qin Shi, but that this kind of banquet, according to the usual unspoken rules, is a treat for Shang Guan, and his subordinates pool money to pay the bill. They thought it was the same this time. Unexpectedly, after the meal, Qin Shi settled the bill without asking them to pay at all. This doubled everyone's goodwill towards Qin Shi, and they all felt that this new leader was a good one. This is what Qin Shi wants. He has to have a good relationship with these subordinates, and maybe he will rely on them to save his life in the future. The guest and host enjoyed themselves and left the Chunlin restaurant. When they parted, Zhu Zaihokai, who blushed after drinking, patted his chest and said, "Don't worry, my lord, I will definitely bring all the books I treasured to you tomorrow, so that you can criticize it." A wrestler also came to join in the fun, hiccups, and said, "Sir, what's the point of criticizing books? When the salary is distributed next month, I will take you to Catch the Cat Alley to dance the sand dance. You can also find a real person for in-depth criticism. Is reading a book interesting? The people in the book, no matter how beautiful they are fake, Can they climb out and let you do it? Qin Shaiyu was waiting for an answer, but Monk Ma announced a Buddha's name and reprimanded the warrior, drinking some horse urine. I forgot what my surname is. Are you the one who went to catch the cat alley? Don't forget, during the day at that time, the adults also said that the beauty is like a wolf or a tiger that cannot be touched. Qin Shaiyu was a little embarrassed. He wanted to tell Monk Ma that it was okay to touch something like beauty occasionally. At the same time, he couldn't help but wonder, why does this Monk Ma seem to know the situation in cat catching alley very well? Zhu Zaihokai also glared at the strong man and scolded, criticizing the palace is elegant, adults are elegant, if you want to go to a brothel, where can you go to places like Catch Alley? Lux was frightened into a cold sweat, hurriedly apologized to Qin Shaiyu, and whispered at the end, I want to go to the brothel too, but I don't have the money, just to enter the door, I will be charged for tea and wine. I don't even touch my hand. By the time I get there, I will run out of money. With this money, I can kill 7 in and 7 out in the cat-catching alley. Qin Shaiyu understood, Catch the Cat Alley is like a hair salon, while the brothel is a high-end club. I just don't know, do you like to hang a small pink lamp in cat-catching alley? I don't even know, what kind of scene of yin yang yan in that expensive brothel. If you have the opportunity in the future, if you have money, you must criticize these dregs of the old society. But the cost of brothels is a bit high. I don't know if I can learn from some trans-migrant seniors to go whoring for free with my handsome face. Saying goodbye to his subordinates, Qin Shaiyu paced home while thinking about it in his heart. He didn't go to catch Cat Alley, really. When he went out in the morning, Qin Shaiyu told his parents that he would invite his colleagues to dinner today, so his parents did not wait for him and had dinner early. Seeing him come back, Qin Daoran called him in front of him, asked about the situation in the Demon Suppression Division today, and then instructed, be sure to study with your third brother-in-law. Qin Shaiyu nodded yes. Qin Daoran originally wanted to ask a few more words, but Qin Li was not happy, and interjected, Zioki has worked hard all day, can't you say a few words less and let him rest earlier? Helpless, Qin Daoran could only swallow the prepared words, simply ordered do well, and then said, in a few days, I should report to the government office. With Xue Qingshan's help, he found a job as a prison officer in the government office. Although his body can't deal with evil spirits, he still has no problem dealing with ordinary cases. Aren't you going to rest for a few days? Qin Shaiyu asked. Qin Daoran shook his head, I can't recuperate any more, if I recuperate any longer, this body will rust. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com and reporting to the government office earlier, can also receive salary earlier. In this world, food and clothing are used for food and clothing. It's getting more expensive every day, just relying on your salary in the Demon Suppression Division, I'm afraid it won't be enough. After chatting with his parents for a while, after saying good night, Qin Shaiyu did not go back to his room, but went to the kitchen and made a tofu with wolf blood. In the restaurant before, he specially kept his stomach so that he could make up lessons when he came back. Parents are used to it. At the beginning, they also questioned, Qin Shaiyu made an excuse, saying that it was a secret recipe obtained by a friend, which could help heal wounds and restore blood. Later, when they saw that it was really effective, their parents stopped talking about it, but told him not to use the secret recipe. Leaked out. Qin Shaiyu had eaten demon wolf blood tofu, and practiced swordsmanship and movement techniques in the yard, so that the medicinal power could be transported to the whole body, and the blood would be stronger. After finishing, he washed and returned to the room. He closed the door and lit the lamp, took out the book from his arms, and began to criticize seriously. After reading it carefully, I realized that this book is about a businessman named Hao Cheng, who accidentally grasped the handle of the female shopkeeper, and then counterattacked all the way, pushing it to the female shopkeeper, female colleagues, and even the female boss. The pectoralis major muscles of the characters in the book are more exaggerated than the other, and what makes Qin Shi criticize is blood boiling. I can't watch it any longer. After reading the last page, Qin Shi let out a heavy breath and closed the book. After thinking about it, he hid the book in the deepest part of the cabinet by the wall, so as not to be discovered by his parents. Then go to bed with a light on, and sleep hard with something hard. Time is coming soon. The cabinet by the wall suddenly opened on its own, and a pale hand stretched out from inside. Qin Shi woke up suddenly, opened his eyes and turned around, and saw a woman crawling out of the cabinet by the wall. Her figure and appearance are still very familiar. It is the female shopkeeper with exaggerated pectoral muscles in the Erotic Palace book. Are the characters in the Erotic Palace book still alive? Still crawling out of the book? Is this breaking the dimensional wall? Or is it the Sadeko version of the Great Xia dynasty? If this scene was seen in front of the computer before the time travel, Qin Shi would have to say a few words. At least I have to say, is there such a good thing? Leave me alone, I will dislocate her jaw and make her mouth shut. But at this moment, Qin Shi only felt horrified. The female ghost who climbed out of the Spring Palace book was also a little surprised when she saw Qin Shi awake. However, she is obviously skilled in business, and she is not flustered. She even threw a wink with a smile and introduced herself, "My son, I am the daughter of Kui's family who lives on this street. Because I admire the son's talent, I came to the meeting in the middle of the night, and I want to have a good relationship with the son." Qin Shi forced himself to remain calm, frowning and sneering. "You are a liar, I have seen all the neighbors on the street, but there is no Kui's daughter like you. And you really think I'm blind? Didn't you see that you climbed out of the Erotic Palace book? What do you say about admiring my talent? When I traveled to this world, I didn't show my talent, how can you still predict the admiration of the prophet? Rather, it's better to put it bluntly, coveting my beauty and flesh." Although he was disdainful, after the female ghost finished speaking, Qin Shi's spirit appeared in a strange trance. He could not help but believe the female ghost's words and form a good relationship with her of unknown origin. Fortunately, Qin Shi quickly realized that something was wrong, bit his tongue before he completely lost his spirit, and got rid of the influence with the hot blood. Is this hypnotism? Or bewitching? It's no wonder that when I read books like Liu's Eye before, a girl with unknown details came to me in the middle of the night. Not only did the poor scholars not doubt it, but they were all very happy. It didn't matter whether the person who came was a ghost or a demon, just sleep first. It turned out that it wasn't those poor scholars who were so lustful that they were dying, but these demons who came to the door in the middle of the night, with the ability to confuse people. Qin Shi guessed without changing his expression, quietly put his hand into the quilt, and grasped something hard. "I was aware of this female ghost as soon as she appeared, and my blood has suppressed her bewitching, which shows that her strength is not strong, and I have a chance to destroy her. Even if I can't destroy it, I can hold on to it." The night watchman from the Demon Suppression Division has arrived. These judgments made Qin Shi feel a little more at ease. Immediately afterwards, he thought of another thing: if I kill this female ghost, will I be able to get a new recipe? According to Qin Shi's speculation, the update of the recipe should be related to the beheading of demons. Because Qin Shi in the past died with a demon wolf after being seriously injured. During this period of time, Qin Shi's blood energy has reached a state of fullness, but he just lacks an opportunity to integrate blood energy into his internal organs and bones, breaking through to the level of the 8th rank of martial arts. Could this female ghost who crawled out of the Erotic Palace book be the opportunity for his breakthrough? Qin Shi's gaze towards the female ghost started to become hot. The female ghost noticed this situation, but she misunderstood, thinking that Qin Shi was bewitched by her beauty, but she didn't know that the other party was actually thinking about how to eat her, whether it was steamed or braised. "Master, the way you look at me is so scary, what do you want to do to me?" The female ghost took out the tone of a green tea bitch, and her delicate voice caused goosebumps all over. I want to eat you. Qin Shaiyu told the truth, silently calculating the distance between the two sides, waiting for a good opportunity. Young master, you are so bad. The female ghost pretended to be shy and said coquettishly, obviously she misunderstood the meaning of eat. As she walked towards the bed, she said pitifully, Sir, it's really cold tonight, can I go into your bed to warm up? Isn't it cold? You're about to lose all the clothes on you. Qin Shaiyu sneered in his heart, but said, I can't ask for it. The closer the female ghost is, the more unexpected he can attack. Qin Shaiyu also deliberately asked for words to distract the female ghost, do you have a sister named Genzi? The female ghost smiled and said, young master is really greedy. It's not enough to have a slave family. He still thinks about the sisters of the slave family. I really want to open your chest and see how much your heart is full of flowers. While speaking, she had already climbed onto the bed and reached out to touch Qin Shaiyu's chest. A trace of black energy that was not easily detected surged on her fingertips, making her fingernails instantly sharp as knives. She really wanted to dig out Qin Shaiyu's heart. However, Qin Shaiyu was also waiting for this moment. He kicked the quilt away, grabbed the hard thing under him, and slammed it towards the female ghost. Unexpectedly, the female ghost reached out to Qin Shaiyu's hand, but it was cut off immediately, spewing out a lot of black gas, just like someone was injured and bleeding. What the female ghost screamed miserably. It wasn't until this moment that she saw that in Qin Shaiyu's hand, he was actually carrying a demon-slaying sword specially made by the Demon Suppression Division. No wonder she was able to slash her with a knife. In addition to the pain, the female ghost was also a little dazed. What's wrong with this person? Why does she sleep with a knife? Aren't you embarrassed? After Qin Shaiyu hit with a knife, he jumped up and continued to slash at the female ghost. At the same time, he swung his other hand towards the window and threw something out. After the thing landed, it immediately flew into the sky and made a thunderous sound. At this moment, the female ghost still didn't understand that the handsome young man on the bed was not bewitched by her at all, but instead planned to smack her. This made the female ghost very angry. If it wasn't for the lack of time to speak, she would have wanted to ask Qin Shaiyu whether he was a man, and the beauty was delivered to the door, but he cut him with a knife instead of eating it. Would you like to call your brothers to chop together? The female ghost roared at Qin Shaiyu, wanting to kill him before the night watchman of the suppressing Demon Suppression Division appeared, taking away his heart and lungs, and swallowing his blood and yang energy. The severed ghost hand on the bed, also wrapped in a cloud of black air, suddenly flew out of thin air and caught Qin Shaiyu's chest. The female ghost gave a smug smile. But the next moment, she couldn't laugh anymore. Her ghost hand was not able to tear open Qin Shaiyu's chest, but was blocked by something hard, making a sound of gold and iron colliding. Qin Shaiyu took advantage of the situation and slashed the female ghost, and when she backed away screaming, she returned to chop the ghost's hand with a few knives. The ghost hand turned into black energy and completely dissipated. The female ghost saw through the torn clothes that Qin Shaiyu's chest was hiding a bronze mirror. The bronze mirror was covered with talisman paper, and it was stained with blood. I don't know if it was the blood of a black dog, a black donkey, or some other kind of blood. You not only sleep with a knife, but also put a bronze mirror in your clothes? What's wrong with you? The female ghost is crazy. She has been in the industry for so many years, and this is the first time she has met such a strange person. Isn't this kid waiting for the demon to come to the door every day? She really guessed it right. Qin Shaiyu has been guarding against demons from the first day he crossed into this world. The demons in this world won't let you sing. Ghosts didn't hurt me at all, they are really deadly. So no matter how much preparation you do, it's never too much. Even Qin Shaiyu once wanted to put on his armor to sleep, but unfortunately even the Demon Suppression Division, when he was not on a mission, couldn't abuse his armor, otherwise he would hide his armor and become a conspiracy. After smashing the ghost's hand, Qin Shaiyu stirred up the blood in his whole body, and the blade attacked the female ghost in a continuous manner, each blade carrying the sound of wind and thunder. The female ghost didn't dare to take it hard, she tried to dodge with her strange movement, and then waited for an opportunity to counterattack. But just as she did not dodge a few times, she suddenly felt a sharp pain in her calf, and she looked down and saw something similar to a trap, pinching her feet. The clip was also pasted with talisman paper, stained with blood, apparently the same treatment as the bronze mirror. This person not only sleeps with a knife and hides a bronze mirror, but also sets up a trap in his room? Is there really nothing wrong with his brain? Too insidious. The female ghost was shocked and angry. Because her actions were restricted, she could no longer avoid Qin Shaiyu's offensive. She hit several knives in a row, and was cut down with a large amount of black gas. In the next room, Qin Shaiyu's parents were awakened by the explosion of the cloud-piercing arrow. It's thundering? It's going to rain? Is the window closed? Qin Li was a little confused at first, but after saying a word, she suddenly heard a woman's moans and screams. She quickly pricked up her ears and spit as she listened. Whose house is this? I'm not ashamed of making such a loud noise in the middle of the night. The voice came from Zioki's room. Qin Daoran said, he had already sat up with a solemn expression. Qin Li didn't expect to eat melons on his own head, so he couldn't help being surprised. Is it Xiao Qi? He hired a prostitute to go home. Qin Daoran frowned. Can't you think of something better? He's afraid that he will provoke a ghost. It wasn't thunder that sounded just now. Yuyuganshu www.yuyuganshu.com is a cloud-piercing arrow asking for help. How could he even dare to do a demon? Qin Li subconsciously took a sentence, and then reacted immediately. She covered her mouth and screamed, and urged, then why don't you go and help? Qin Daoran sighed, I'm exhausted now, I can't help if I go, it will only drag him down. Then what should we do? Qin Li was worried. The night watchman from the Demon Suppression Division will be here soon, and Xiao Qi should be able to persist until they come. The husband and wife were talking, but the movement in Qin Shaiyu's room stopped, which made them nervous. You stay in the room, I'll go take a look. Qin Daoran couldn't sit still, so he picked up a bench and held it in his hand, opened the door and went to Qin Shaiyu's room. At this time, several figures climbed over the wall and were admitted to the hospital. One of them was still carrying a lantern, and looking at his clothes, he was from the Demon Suppression Division. Master Qin. The visitor obviously knew Qin Daoran. Don't call me your lord, I'm no longer in the Demon Suppression Division. Qin Daoran waved his hand, and then greeted the person coming to Qin Shaiyu's room. The cloud-piercing arrow was sent by my son. I heard the sound of fighting in his room just now. The night watchman moved faster than him, and rushed to Qin Shaiyu's door with a stride, kicked the door open. There is no more female ghost in the house, only Qin Shaiyu is alone. Holding a knife, he carefully picked out a book from the cabinet. By the light of the lantern, everyone could see clearly that it was an book. The cover is so hot that it makes people's blood boil. Who? The movement of kicking the door alarmed Qin Shaiyu. He turned around and slashed out. The night watchman of the Demon Suppression Division. The person who kicked the door quickly backed away and at the same time showed his identity to avoid accidental injury. By the light of the lantern, Qin Shaiyu could clearly see the uniform of the Demon Suppression Division on the people who came, as well as the identity badge held in his hand, and Qin Daoran who was following behind them. Only then did he take back the knife he had cut out, but he didn't put it back into the sheath. He pointed at the Spring Palace book in the cabinet with the knife. You are here. A female ghost crawled out of this book just now. Where's the female ghost? The night watchman with the lantern asked. The shadows in the house lit by the flickering candles added a bit of eerie and gloom. I was killed by me. Qin Shaihu's answer was obviously somewhat unexpected by the night watchman. They looked at each other and asked puzzled, "Since you can kill the ghost in the painting, why did you send a signal to call for reinforcements?" "Because before the fight, I wasn't sure I could kill her. Of course, I had to be careful and make the safest choice," Qin Shaihu said seriously. This. Several night watchmen looked at each other. If someone else said that, they would scold them for abusing the cloud-piercing arrow. But to Qin Shaihu, they couldn't say that. Who asked Qin Shaihu to have a brother-in-law of Bei Huguan, the suppressing demon sect? They even had to boast, "Master Xiao Qin is really cautious." Qin Shaihu was very satisfied with this evaluation, and sighed, "Be careful. In this season of demons, you can't be too cautious, right?" What can a few night watchmen say? Can only say yes with a smile. Immediately afterwards, a night watchman took out a box full of talisman paper from the box he was carrying, put the book in it, and wanted to take it back to the town demon division for identification and inspection. By the light of the night watchman's lantern, Qin Shaihu noticed that there was one person missing on the cover of the Spring Palace book. What was missing was the female ghost he killed. After putting away the book, the night watchman checked Qin Shaihu's room again. They didn't find any remaining ghost breath, but they were almost hurt by the trap set up by Qin Shaihu. This makes them really want to scold their mothers. "You are being too cautious with so many traps in your own room, right? Aren't you afraid of getting up in the middle of the night to go to the toilet and hurting yourself?" But reason overcame impulsiveness, and they didn't dare to really scold them. After carefully and swiftly completing the inspection, several night watchmen hurriedly said goodbye, for fear that they would break the defense if they took a slow step. "You don't need to climb over the wall when you come, but you climb over the wall when you leave. What's wrong?" Qin Daoran saw that these night watchmen did not leave the courtyard door that he had opened, but chose to climb over the wall again, and couldn't help shaking his head. How did he know that these night watchmen were frightened by the traps made by Qin Shaihu, for fear that there were still traps near the courtyard gate, so they chose to go the same way? Even the position and action of climbing over the wall were the same as when they came. "That's right, it's too dogmatic." Qin Shaihu agreed, but what he thought in his mind was, "It seems a little too easy to overturn this wall. Some arrangements have to be made." Just thinking about it, he found that his father and mother, who had just come out of the house, both set their eyes on him. Qin Shaihu thought they didn't understand the word dogmatism, and was about to explain when he heard his mother say, "Xiao Qi, I just heard you say in the room that that female ghost came from an book. Crawled out. Right." Qin Shaihu first responded, then immediately realized that something was wrong, and quickly explained, "That book has nothing to do with me. It was brought to the town demon yamen by my subordinates, and I found it and confiscated it. Although I took it home, but I haven't read it. I plan to put it away for a while and wait for that person give it back to him if you do well." Qin Daoran patted his shoulder and said with a smile, "There is no need to explain so much, we believe in you." Immediately afterwards, he asked about the situation when he was fighting with the female ghost. With years of experience, he gave some suggestions. Qin Shaihu only felt that he had benefited a lot. After the review was over, Qin Daoran yawned and said, "I and your mother went back to the room to rest, you should go to bed earlier. Oh, by the way, what do you think of Hao Cheng?" Qin Shaihu was still immersed in the review, and subconsciously replied, "Blessings are endless, eternal God." After saying this, he regretted it. Sure enough, looking at Qin Daoran again, he looked like he was smiling, as if he was saying, "Look at how you pretend to be a kid. I just flipped through it, just a moment." Qin Shaihu explained with a smile, embarrassed to the point of being too embarrassed. "Is there anything more embarrassing than being caught by your parents reading books?" "Well, it seems that there really is." Qin Daoran, who succeeded in the temptation, laughed, "No need to explain, we all understand. You have grown up and you are full of energy. It is normal to have these needs, but you just need to know how to control and not overdo it, otherwise it will affect your cultivation. Also, in the future if you encounter something like this again, don't throw the blame on your subordinates, it's easy to reveal your secrets. The best person to blame is the jailer. Because of this kind of person, it's hard for outsiders to see, and it's not easy to be questioned. Qin Daoren was a little carried away, so much so that when he was teaching his experience, he forgot that his wife was still there. Qin Li was yawning constantly and was drowsy, but after hearing Qin Daoren's words, he instantly regained his energy, stared at his hips and said, "No wonder you used to like to talk to the jailer about your work, and it was always late. I've been wondering for a long time, what kind of work do you have to talk to the jailer? Now I know that this is all your excuse. Where did you go when you returned home late? Also, why do you know so much about the content of the erotic palace book?" "No, I was really talking about work before. As for the content of the book, I listened to others, and I haven't read a single page." Don't screw your ears, Zioki is still here, give me some. Is it okay to save face? It hurts, go back to the house and we will shut the door and say. Qin Daoren covered his ears and begged for mercy, and was dragged back to the room by Mrs. Qin Li. In the days that follow, whether he sleeps on the bed or on the floor will depend on whether he can make up all the lies he told before. Qin Shaihu was very happy to see this scene. When someone accompanies me to die together, I don't feel so embarrassed. Watching his parents go back to the room, he closed the door and started the interrogation. Qin Shaihu did not go back to the room to sleep, but went to the kitchen with a knife. After beheading the female ghost, Qin Shaihu really had a new page in the cookbook in his mind. It's a new dish called fried ghost. The main ingredient used in this dish is the female ghost who was beheaded by him. In the recipe, this female ghost is named Ghost. She was originally a poor person who was harmed by ghosts, but after her death, she was willing to help ghosts to lure and kill others in order to obtain flesh and blood and yang energy, sinking step by step. Fallen into a demon. Although it is pitiful, it is also hateful. The practice of deep frying ghosts is very simple. You can directly fry the ghosts in the oil pan until golden brown, and then you can eat them. As for its effect, Qin Shaihu's eyes lit up. After taking it by a warrior full of blood energy, it can smelt the blood energy into the internal organs, muscles, and bones, greatly strengthen the defense, and obtain the ghost's smart tongue talent. I guessed it right, the update of the recipe is really related to the beheading of demons. The effect of deep-fried ghosts smelting blood energy into the internal organs and bones is a key step in breaking through from the blood energy realm to the muscles and bones realm. However, this Jiao Tong, what is talent? In the kitchen, Qin Shaihu pondered while lighting a fire. Is it to make the tongue flexible? The kind who can have a lotus on their tongues and don't even need toothpicks to eat snails? Oh, if the female ghost in the painting had said she had this talent earlier, I wouldn't have hacked her to death with a few knives, so I would have to try. Forget it, it's better to hack to death. If she is attacked by surprise while trying, even if you can save your life, you won't be able to save your roots. But what's the use of me taking this talent? Is it to change careers to do duck? Although my handsome face is indeed suitable for eating soft rice, the problem is, I don't know any rich women. Qin Shaihu thought wildly, but a sentence was refreshed on the page of the fried ghost in the recipe. It is the explanation of the talent of Jiao Tong, those with a clever tongue can speak well. Able to speak well. Qin Shaihu remembered the experience that when the female ghost in the painting first appeared, she almost bewitched him with a lame lie. Could it be that the Jiao Tong talent gave him a similar ability? I just don't know how it works. So it's not the kind of tongue-in-cheek ability I thought. Qin Shaihu breathed a sigh of relief, but at the same time he was a little regretful. When the fire raged, Qin Shaihu picked up the pot on the stove and poured some vegetable oil into the pot. The oil was quickly burned to the point of scorching hot. With Qin Shiai's thoughts moving, he took out the female ghost in the painting from the recipe. At this moment, the female ghost in the painting, Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com, is no longer the exaggerated gourd-shaped figure before, but has become a dark cloud of black air. The black gas came out of the recipe and fell directly into the frying pan. It was obviously an invisible thing, but it was fried with a squeak. In a short while, it was blasted from pitch black to golden, from a spirit body to a real body. It looks crispy and has an attractive aroma. The only thing Qin Shiai felt sorry for was a ghost, and he only made a fried ghost. It is impossible to want to eat something like the demon wolf blood tofu every day. After all, it is not uncommon to eat demon meat and drink demon blood in the demon suppression division, but eating ghosts, I really haven't heard of it. And without a mysterious recipe, it is not an easy task to collect beheaded ghosts. Qin Shiai took the fried ghost out of the pot, put out the stove fire, scooped up the used vegetable oil, put it into an empty bowl, and kept it for the next cooking. Then he picked up the fried ghost that had cooled down and took a bite. Fluffy and crispy, the taste is very similar to fried dough sticks. It is worthy of being called a fried ghost. It would be even better if there is another bowl of soy milk. After taking a few bites of the fried ghost, Qin Shiai felt that the blood in his body began to surge. He knew that this was a sign that blood energy was about to melt into the internal organs and bones, so he hurried back to his room, sat cross-legged on the bed, put the knife on his right hand, and took out a cloud-piercing arrow on his left. With this arrangement, in case of any accident when smelting blood energy, it can also respond in time. Just after doing this, a severe pain swept over Qin Shiai's body. And in the demon suppression division, there was no eyeballs in Jushin Dangmo Patriarch statue, tears flowed from those empty eye sockets again. After half an hour, the intense pain finally subsided. Hey! Qin Shiai opened his mouth and let out a mouthful of turbid air that he had held back for a long time. No matter how painful it was before, he gritted his teeth and didn't say a word, for fear that his mouth would leak the smelting blood, making the breakthrough in vain. After resting for a while, Qin Shiai, who had regained his strength, jumped out of bed and checked the changes in his body. His strength has improved a lot, but the biggest change is still in his body's defense. The muscles, bones and muscles that had smelted blood energy became as hard as iron, and there was still blood energy flowing between the bones, filling the gaps. It's like putting on a layer of airtight invisible armor, which can better protect the body and internal organs. Qin Shiai now has muscles and bones like a bell jar and muscles like iron armor. This is the so-called golden bell hood and iron cloth shirt, and it is also a symbol of the warriors stepping into the 8th rank muscle and bone realm. If Qin Shiai were to encounter the ghost in the painting again, even if there was no bronze mirror, he would not be scratched by the ghost's sharp claws, but would only kill the ghost in the painting faster and more neatly. No pain in vain. Qin Shiai was very satisfied with the changes in his body, but he didn't have a place to test his Qiaotong talent, so he didn't know the specific effect. He raised his head and glanced out the window. The night was dark, but instead of lying down to rest, he picked up the saber and the cloud-piercing arrow and went out. Just after walking 2 steps in the yard, Qin Daoran stuck his head out of the main house, looked at him, and asked inexplicably, "You're not going to bed so late, where are you going?" "I'll go back to the Demon Suppression Division and gather my subordinates to investigate the ghost in the painting." Qin Shiai told the truth. Since behind the ghost in the painting, there is a ghost who enslaves it, then if this ghost is not eliminated for a day, Qin Shiai will be like a light on his back, and he will not be able to rest in peace for a day. Because he may be plotted against and revenged at any time. Qin Shiai can feel at ease only if he finds out this behind the scenes ghost as soon as possible and gets rid of it. Qin Daoran frowned and said, "Didn't you kill the ghost in the painting? What are you investigating? Do you suspect that there are other ghosts in the painting?" But the night watchman already knew about it. Report to the nightclub flag and start investigating. What are you doing to join in the fun? One more person, one more strength. Qin Shaihu's answer was a little vague. He didn't tell Qin Daoren. He was afraid that his colleagues would not care about the matter, so he went to investigate it himself. Qin Daoren didn't know this. He just thought that Qin Shaihu was a teenager and wanted to find out and get rid of the accomplices of the ghosts in the painting as soon as possible, so that more people would not be hurt by them. Do not be reckless. I will definitely be careful. Qin Shaihu answered very seriously, and felt that Dad's exhortation was really good advice. After leaving the courtyard gate, Qin Shaihu clenched his saber and ran in the direction of the Demon Suppression Division. On the way, he was questioned by several groups of night watchmen and night guards. Relying on the waist card of the small flag officer of the town demon division, he traveled unimpeded. A team of night guards saw him hurrying in the dark, but they kindly offered him a lantern, but he declined. In the dark night, although the lantern can illuminate the road, it is also very conspicuous. It is safer to travel in the dark. After Qin Shaihu went out, Mr. Qin Li, who was already asleep, suddenly turned over and sat up, guessing with some doubts, is Xiao Qi really going to the Demon Suppression Division to investigate the case? Don't make excuses to go to places like Cat Alley, right? He is reading books and meeting female ghosts again today, so it's possible that he can't hold back his anger. Qin Daoren laughed dumbly. He wanted to complain that his wife thought too much, but when the words came to his lips, he swallowed them back. At this time, it's better not to open your mouth, otherwise it's easy to get yourself on your head and suffer innocently. But after being silent for a while, Qin Daoren still couldn't hold back and said cautiously, "Ma'am, the ground is cold, can I go back to bed?" The answer to him was a cold hum. Qin Daoren could only continue to lie on the ground. On the other side, Qin Shaihu came to the Demon Suppression Division smoothly. Zhu Zaihokai, Monk Ma, and others were all transferred from Xiaxiang County. They had no real estate in the city, and because their family members hadn't come with them, they didn't rent a house outside. They lived in the same house, but it was convenient for Qin Shaihu to not have to look for them one by one. Pushing open the door, a strong smell of stinky feet rushed to his face, and the smoked Qin Shaihu almost didn't hold his breath. At the same time, the sound of snoring followed one after another, causing Qin Shaihu to have a headache. However, even in such a noisy environment, someone noticed his arrival and sat up suddenly, casting vigilant eyes towards the door. It was Zhu Zaihokai and Monk Ma. Monk Ma is highly vigilant, so Qin Shaihu is not surprised. During the day, he could see that this monk who was still from the commonplace really had some skills, and his cultivation had already reached the peak of the bones and muscles. But Zhu Zihokai's reaction was somewhat beyond Qin Shaihu's expectations. It can only be said that these people who have made a name for themselves at the grassroots level are not simple. "Sir, why are you here?" Seeing that it was Qin Shaihu, Zhu Zihokai and Monk Ma were surprised. They couldn't understand why Qin Shaihu came here in the middle of the night without sleeping. "Do you want to sleep with them?" The two looked at each other and hesitated. Qin Shaihu stood at the door and slowed down, then he endured the smell of his feet and entered the house. He ordered, "Call everyone up. Have a mission." Zhu Zihokai and Monk Ma suddenly realized, and hurriedly woke up the wrestlers who were still sleeping in the room. After the wrestlers were woken up, they were still a little dissatisfied and scolded. They didn't shut their mouths until they saw Qin Shaihu standing in the room with a knife. Soon everyone was awakened, and the room was silent, but the stench still pervaded. Qin Shaihu then asked Zhu Zihokai, "Where did you buy the book that was confiscated today?" Zhu Zihokai was stunned for a moment, but soon realized something and answered seriously, "Yatantang in the west of the city." "Sir, but what's wrong with that book?" Qin Shaihu nodded. "Tonight at midnight, a female ghost crawled out of that book." A female ghost. Everyone's spirits were lifted, and the tiredness that was suddenly awakened instantly dissipated a lot. The wrestler who mentioned that he was going to take Qin Shaiyu to catch Cat Alley even opened his mouth wide and said in surprise, "A woman really crawled out of the book." Zhu Zaihokai muttered with a look of loss, "That female ghost should have come to me." Qin Shaiyu frowned, wondering why people still expect to be found by ghosts. "Do you really want to be a undead knight?" The other knights couldn't hold it in any longer, and asked in vain, "Sir, what does the female ghost who climbed out of the erotic palace look like? What did that female ghost do to you? Where is it now?" Qin Shaiyu replied casually, "The female ghost looks just like the female shopkeeper in the erotic palace book. I found it as soon as it climbed out of the book, and then started to undress, saying that she admired my talent and wanted to share with me. A good relationship ends, oh. Everyone got excited. Isn't this the Liuzai Yantan that the storyteller told in the Gulan tea house? Unexpectedly, what happened in the story actually came true. Someone couldn't wait to urge, "What's next? What do you do next? Don't betray yourselves, sir, tell me quickly, even if it's money, we're willing to listen." Even Monk Ma pricked up his ears after proclaiming the Buddha's name. Qin Shaiyu didn't take their money, and told the ending directly, "I killed the female ghost." "Oh, why did you kill it? What a waste!" Zhu Zaihokai slapped his thigh with regret, and the wrestlers responded similarly. Only the monk Ma praised after proclaiming the Buddha's name, as expected of an adult, "You really see beauty like a wolf or a tiger, and you will teach people to admire it." Qin Shaiyu glanced at Monk Ma with satisfaction, then rolled his eyes at Zhu Zaihokai, and said angrily, "That's a ghost. What happened to the ghost? Aren't you afraid that it will take away your essence and kill you?" Zhu Zaihokai didn't care, "I spend my energy every day, and I don't see anything. Besides, with so many of us here, how could it have killed it? It will only let it know, what is a big man." The wrestlers burst into laughter. Qin Shaiyu took a deep look at Zhu Zaihokai and sneered, "You have dark eyes and kidney deficiency, you reading www.isyuyugonshu.com still bragging here?" After explaining the situation, Qin Shaiyu stopped wasting time, and instructed everyone, "Hurry up and put on your clothes and equipment, and follow me to the city's elegant chat hall, and Zhu Zaihokai will lead the way." "No problem." Zhu Zaihokai nodded in agreement. Everyone also responded in unison, and everyone dressed quickly. Such a positive attitude made Qin Shaiyu feel surprised, but after thinking about it, he understood. The enthusiasm of these guys is probably all for the female ghost. It's really like, as long as you're brave, Sadako will take maternity leave. Qin Shaiyu resisted and didn't complain, and ordered, "Go and find me a knife, if you haven't used it before." "Don't you have a knife, sir?" Zhu Zaihokai looked at the knife in his hand and asked in confusion. Qin Shaiyu pulled out the knife, pointed at the blade and said, "When this knife was beheading the ghost in the painting, it was corroded by evil energy, and some gaps appeared. A new knife is safer." Taking advantage of the light of the oil lamp in the room, Zhu Zaihokai stared at the blade carefully for a while, and finally saw a few small inconspicuous gaps. "That's it. Will this affect the strength of the cutter body and cause the curling edge to break? Are you being a little cautious?" Zhu Zaihokai looked at Qin Shaiyu with a serious face, but he still didn't dare to question it. While everyone was getting dressed, Monk Ma also found a new knife. Qin Shaiyu checked it carefully, and after confirming that there was no problem with the blade, he replaced it with satisfaction. Then, under the leadership of Zhu Zaihokai, a group of people left the town demon division and rushed to the west of the city under the moonlight. But when they arrived at the west of the city, they were surprised to find that although it was midnight, there was a lot of people here. "The water is gone! The water is gone!" A diving soldier is running down the street beating a gong. Not far away, a fire burst into the sky, dispelling the darkness, causing the neighbors to scream in panic. A group of diving soldiers hurriedly rushed to put out the fire, carrying water bags, tent ropes, clamshells, and other tools. Qin Shaiyu had a bad premonition in his heart, stopped the diving soldier who was beating the gong, and asked, "Where is the fire?" The diving soldier who was stopped wanted to curse, but after seeing Qin Shaiyu's uniform, he quickly swallowed the curse and hurriedly replied, "Sir, it's Yatantang." "What?" Zhu Zaihokai was shocked when he heard the words. They were going to Yatantang to investigate the ghost in the painting, but Yatantang went away? "I'm afraid it's not a fire, but someone deliberately set the fire to destroy the clues, right?" "How is the fire?" Zhu Zaihokai hurriedly asked. "Actually, you don't need to ask, just by looking at the sky-high fire, you know that the fire is definitely not small." Sure enough, the diving soldiers replied, "The fire is very big, and the Yatan Hall and the printing workshop behind it have been burned. We can't save it. We can only try our best to stop the fire and prevent the surrounding houses from being affected." After asking and understanding the situation, Qin Shaiyu asked the diving soldier to continue beating the gong as a warning, while he took his subordinates and rushed to the vicinity of Yatan Hall, where he saw the raging fire engulfing Yatan Hall with his own eyes. "My lord, this fire came so coincidentally," Zhu Zaihokai said solemnly. Qin Shaiyu nodded. He didn't need to remind him of this situation. He immediately ordered, "Go and find out where the people in Yatantang are, and bring them back to the town demon division for interrogation." "Yes." Zhu Zaihokai immediately took the order and brought a few wrestlers to investigate. Monk Ma also wanted to follow, but Qin Shaiyu stayed by his side. And Zhu Zaihokai was really good at doing things, and it didn't take much time to find all the people in Yatantang. These people are also lucky. Although many of them were burned, their lives are safe. However, when they heard that they were going to be taken to the Demon Suppression Division for questioning, they were all panicked, and some even wanted to escape. Zhu Zaihokai immediately realized that there was something wrong with this group of people, and without any hesitation, he immediately summoned the fighters to take out the chains to bind them, and escorted them back to the town demon division for a surprise interrogation. Qin Shaiyu, who stayed at the fire scene, waited until the fire was put out, and went into the ruins with Monk Ma and others to investigate. The result was nothing. This fire completely burned the inside and outside of the Yatan Hall, leaving no clues. Back at the Demon Suppression Division, the interrogation of Zhu Zaihokai and others was over. The group of people in Yatantang did not know the cause of the fire, nor did they know about the ghost in the painting. However, they are all believers of the Black Lotus sect, and they use Yatan Hall to quietly promote their teachings in the city and develop their followers. After listening to the report with Qin Shaiyu, Monk Ma raised his eyebrows and guessed, "So, the ghost in the painting was created by the Black Lotus sect." "Uncertain." Qin Shaiyu thought for a while, then shook his head and said, "If the ghost in the painting is caused by the Black Lotus sect, then when they create evidence of the destruction of the fire, they should get rid of these believers too, and shouldn't leave such a big flaw for us." This made sense. Monk Ma nodded, and then asked, "Where did the ghost in the painting come from?" Qin Shaiyu sighed, "There may be clues left in the Yatan Hall, but unfortunately it was destroyed by a fire." After a pause, he asked Zhu Zaihokai again, "To whom did Yatantang sell the books recently published? Who are the people in the city who were developed by them to join the Black Lotus sect?" Zhu Zaihokai replied, "These people have a hard mouth and are only willing to explain the matter of the erotic palace book. They will not utter a word for the developing Black Lotus sect believers, no matter how they are tortured. There are many people who buy erotic palace books, and they only know part of it. Regarding the situation of the regular customers, I have already sent someone to investigate the familiar customers at the address they gave. Calculate the time, it is almost time to come back." Just as he was talking, he saw several figures rushing into the bad room. It was the wrestlers sent by Zhu Zaihokai. Seeing them, Zhu Zaihokai hurriedly got up and asked, How is it? Did you find anything? Several warriors first marched to Qin Shao's salute, and then reported, when we arrived at the familiar Hakka in Yatantang, some people had already been killed, and the time of their death was not consistent. God is dead. Monk Ma frowned, interjected, and asked, died a few days ago? Why didn't the family come to my demon suppression division to report the crime? Lux replied, because there are no scars on the bodies of the deceased, there is no problem from the outside. The family members only thought that they were suddenly ill, and they didn't know that they had provoked evil spirits. Monk Ma nodded and agreed with this reason. Lux continued to report, we examined the bodies of the deceased and found that although they had no trauma, they had suffered excessive blood loss, and some of the bodies had sunken chests, and it was suspected that their hearts had been removed. We also searched these people's homes, but we didn't find any useful clues. We only found the books they bought at Yatantang. In the latest book, there are obviously missing characters. After all, the warriors took out a few books and handed them over to Qin Shaiyu. Qin Shaiyu flipped through it and handed it to Zhu Zaihokai, who just glanced at it and said with certainty, there are indeed missing characters. The most outstanding characters in these books are all gone. It is estimated that the ghost in the painting escaped after harming the person. Qin Shaiyu nodded and concluded. There are a few regular customers who haven't been killed for the time being. We also brought back all the books they bought. The Luxes took out several other books. But a group of people gathered around and studied for a long time, but they didn't find any problems. Qin Shaiyu didn't give up, put these books on the desk in the poor room, pulled over a stool, and sat beside him. But he wanted to sit back and wait for the ghost in the painting to come out. One is to search for clues, and the other is to kill and eat. Zhu Zaihokai and others also stayed here and followed him. I don't know if they want to kill a ghost or get a ghost. After waiting for a while, there were no abnormality in the several books, but there was a sudden alarm sound from outside the bad room. Is someone warning? And listening to the voice, it seems to be in the demon suppression division? What happened? Everyone was surprised. Zhu Zaihokai disappeared in a flash. After a while, he returned from the outside and brought inquiring news, it's the prison that is warning. Jail. The faces of everyone became more and more ugly. The only people detained in the Zhenyasi prison tonight are the people from Yatantang. Could it be that these people caused trouble? Or did the accomplices of the Black Lotus sect come to rob the prison? No matter what the reason is, you must rush over to see it. Qin Shaiyu was careful, and when he went out, he did not forget to instruct Monk Ma to bring the book, so that when they went to the prison, these books would make trouble again. When they arrived at the gate of the prison, there were already many night watchmen here, and even the nightclub flag appeared on the scene. Seeing Qin Shaiyu, the nightclub flag's eyes lit up and greeted, Qin Zioki, you are here too, just in time, come with me to the prison to have a look. Qin Shaiyu knew that this General Banner was a close associate of Xueqing Shan, and it was a good intention to call him into the prison together. Although the situation in the prison is unknown, there are multiple restrictions placed by the suppressing demon, so even if something really happens, they can deal with the past. Qin Shaiyu waited a little, then clenched the knife and followed the general flag into the prison. On the way, he also asked for a shield from the night watchman in charge of vigilance. Zhu Zaihokai, Monk Ma, and the others followed Qin Shaiyu without any hesitation. Entering the prison, the light inside was dark, and before everyone could see what was going on, they first smelled a strong stench of blood, which made people nauseous. Immediately afterwards, there were bursts of screams that made the scalp numb. After they got used to the light in the prison, Qin Shaiyu and the others saw that there was an ugly monster in the Demon Suppression Division's cell. It looked like a strange tree made of flesh and blood. The trunk is composed of human bodies, which seem to be piled up randomly, but between the bodies, there are strange granulations with pus and blood connected, as if someone forcibly stitched them together. And the pieces of human hands and feet are the branches of the flesh tree. A human head is its stamen and fruit. Whether it is hands, feet, or heads, they are all alive. The hands and feet were constantly dancing, throwing out patches of pus and blood, polluting the surrounding environment. The head of the person was screaming with its mouth wide open, spewing out a black mist and stench. The stench of blood that Qin Shaiyu and the others smelled, the screams and screams they heard, all originated from this ugly meat tree. Such a bizarre scene made everyone who was used to seeing ghosts in the town of Yaesi couldn't help but feel agitated. The nightclub flag immediately called the jailer to him and asked, "What's going on with this monster?" "Master Chief Banner, this is how it goes." The jailer did not dare to neglect, and hurriedly told what he knew. Qin Shaiyu followed Zongqi and listened to the report together. Only then did he know that this ugly flesh tree-like monster was really changed by the people in Yatantang. When they were first put in prison, they all behaved normally, but not long ago, they suddenly went crazy, biting and killing each other. After the jailer discovered this situation, he originally wanted to stop it, but it turned out that after these people slaughtered and ate their companions, they actually grown their companions into their bodies. One devoured one, and it became what it is now. And because the incident happened so fast, it was impossible to stop it. "Master Su, these are followers of the Black Lotus sect. We captured them when we were investigating the ghosts in the paintings." Qin Shaiyu also reported the origins of these people to President Su. "Oh!" President Su raised his brows and made a judgment. In this way, these people should have taken the secret medicine of the Black Lotus sect, were controlled, and transformed into demons, and they became what they are now. However, they became demonized not long after they were arrested in the Demon Suppression Division. It seems that the Black Lotus sect demon who controls them should also be in the city. Before he finished speaking, the ugly meat tree in the prison noticed their existence. The skulls of the people on the meat tree swayed, their red eyes turned to stare at them, their mouths were wide open, they spit out pus and blood, and screamed with excitement, "Eat these people! Eat them, attain the status of Bodhisattva! Bodhisattva, Bodhisattva, I want to be a Bodhisattva!" The hands and feet on the trunk quickly wriggled to the bottom of the meat tree, turning from branches to roots, actually propped up the meat tree and started running. Don't look at its bloated shape, but it runs very fast. Boom! The ugly meat tree collided with the iron railings of the cell. The entire cell was shaken by the impact, and the runes on the specially made iron railings kept flashing, making people dazzled. If this was an ordinary prison cell, I'm afraid it would be smashed and destroyed by the ugly meat tree. Failing to rush out of the cell, the man above the ugly flesh tree let out an angry roar, then opened his mouth and sang the killing scriptures of the Black Lotus sect. The combination of the strange tone and the scriptures produced a strange magic, which made everyone who heard it have a strong murderous intention, wanting to kill everyone around him, whether it was an enemy or a friend. There was a sudden sound of a knife being drawn. Although the night watchmen held back for the time being and did not kill each other, they all looked at their colleagues with killing intent and vigilance. "The scriptures are weird, you can't listen to them." Qin Shaiyu resisted killing, and reached out to cover his ears. But it's useless. The killing scriptures sung by the human heads can go straight into the brain and can't be avoided at all. And everyone's killing intent is getting stronger and stronger, and they will soon be unable to control themselves. Su Zongqi also discovered this situation. While ordering the most affected people to be sent out of the prison, he turned his head and shouted outside the prison, "Bring out the supernatural item number 37 with the yellow letter, hurry up!" Soon, an iron box covered with talismans was carried into the prison by several night watchmen. He took off the talisman paper and opened the box. Inside was a rusted bronze bell covered with handprints. There was no need for anyone to knock. After the seal was lifted, the bronze bell made a loud noise of its own, which shook people to the point of splitting headaches, but also suppressed the murderous intentions in people's hearts that were aroused by the ugly flesh tree. "Kill this monster!" Su Zongqi immediately ordered. But his voice was covered up by the sound of bells and chanting, and others couldn't hear him at all. He could only make gestures to make people understand what he meant. Following the archer in the prison, he immediately shot a wave of arrows, and the ugly flesh of the flesh tree flew out. Several night watchmen with long spears rushed forward, stabbing at the ugly meat tree through the iron railings of the cell. Although the ugly meat tree is disgusting and terrifying in shape, it can only be beaten passively because it can't get out of the cell. Seeing this scene, Qin Shiai was a little moved, and wanted to go up and grab someone's head. But before he started, he saw a foul-smelling blood mist suddenly spread around the ugly meat tree. The amputated limbs and heads suddenly shot out from the meat tree, passed through the gap between the railings, and attacked everyone. The first to bear the brunt was the night watchman who was busy stabbing in front of the iron railing. They were either knocked away by flying legs, or their necks were caught by flying hands, and some people were bitten by flying heads frantically, and large pieces of flesh were bitten off. A human head grinned at Qin Shiai, but he blocked it with a shield, and then he drew a knife and swung it out, cutting off the flesh and blood link between the human head and the ugly meat tree. These limbs and human heads that flew out of the ugly meat tree are similar to the flying headman, with a long piece of flesh and blood, which is linked to the ugly meat tree. After the flesh and bone link was cut off, the human head fell to the ground immediately, and he wanted to roll towards the meat tree. How could Qin Shiai let it go, raised his shield to protect his body, and stepped forward with a knife, splitting the head in half. The split head doesn't move anymore. When Qin Shiai chopped off the head, the other night watchman also responded, chopped off the limbs and heads shot by the ugly flesh tree, and rescued the injured colleagues. The bowman, under the protection of the shield player, fired a new wave of arrows again. The ugly flesh tree was repeatedly hit, obviously it couldn't hold it any longer, and the flesh and blood kept disintegrating and falling. Qin Shiai saw this, hurriedly threw the shield to Monk Ma, leaned over and picked up a long spear dropped by a colleague from the ground, and under the shield guard of Monk Ma, rushed to the railing of the cell and stabbed with the spear. The other night watchman also rushed up and formed a siege on the ugly meat tree again. Qin Shiai wanted to yell at them, "Don't take my head," but the sound of the bell and chanting was so loud that no one could hear him. The ugly meat tree couldn't hold it any longer, and disintegrated in a sound of shattering, turning into flesh and stumps and broken arms all over the place. The stench of blood in the prison became even stronger, making people unable to open their eyes. Although the ugly meat tree was killed and there were no major casualties, Su Zongqi was still very angry. There was a night watchman who reported to him about the ghost in the painting before, but he thought that since the ghost in the painting had been beheaded by Qin Shiai, he didn't take it too seriously. Unexpectedly, there is more than one ghost in this painting, and the Black Lotus sect is also involved, and there is an accident in the prison of the Demon Suppression Division. This is provoking the Demon Suppression Division, provoking him Su Bian. An angry Su Zongqi walked out of the prison, and immediately dispatched a large number of people to search the whole city, trying to find out the demon of the Black Lotus sect and find clues about the ghost in the painting. Unfortunately, everyone was busy until dawn, but they still found nothing. Even those few books were silent. I don't know if the ghosts in the paintings are not hiding in these books, or if the ghosts in the paintings sense the danger, they shy away and dare not come out. President Su was very dissatisfied with this, as was Qin Shiai. The only thing that makes Qin Shiai happy is that his anger exploded and he grabbed the head of the ugly meat tree. When the ugly meat tree collapsed, a new medicinal diet appeared in the mysterious recipe in his mind. This medicinal meal is called purple snow cool silk. It is neither the flesh and blood of the ugly meat tree, nor the soul of it to make soup, but a cold vegetable dish. The ingredients are actually related to the secret medicine taken by the believers of the Black Lotus sect. But it will not allow Qin Shiai to be controlled by the Black Lotus sect and become demonized. On the contrary, it can also improve Qin Shiai's mental resistance, making him less likely to be bewitched by evil spirits. What is this, the reverse operation? Qin Shiai was amazed. The production method of Zigzhuliangxi is very simple. just mix and match several medicinal materials according to the proportion. Because there is no need to use additional seasonings and tools, Qin Shaiyu doesn't have to go home, so he made it in the demon suppression division and ate it quickly. The taste is not bad, but I don't know how it works. According to Qin Shaiyu's guess, this zigzuliangxi is probably the same as the demon wolf blood tofu. The more you eat, the better the effect. It seems that there is one more dish to be eaten frequently in the future. In the blink of an eye, it was early morning. Qin Shaiyu was at a noodle stall near Zhanyasi, invited his subordinates to eat noodles, and thanked them for their hard work all night. A group of people were gobbling their food when they suddenly saw more than a dozen BMW carved cars, under the of a group of valiant escorts, approaching from the direction of the city gate. Before the convoy arrived, a refreshing fragrance floated over first. Such a situation naturally attracted a lot of onlookers, and there were children who followed behind the convoy, making noises while watching the excitement. The adults are curiously guessing the origin of the team. As the convoy passed by the stall, one of the carriages opened the curtain. A delicate and beautiful face poked out of the car window, and his spring-like eyes glanced at Qin Shaiyu and the others. Immediately, Zhu Zaihokai and the others were stunned with their noodle bowls as if their souls had been taken away. It wasn't until the convoy drove far away that they came to their senses and talked excitedly, "What a beautiful little lady! Which family's female family is this? Why haven't you seen it before? She was looking at me just now, right? She must be looking at me. Bah, you don't take a photo of yourself when you pee. Just like you, the little lady can look at you? It's no wonder that you don't make me cry." The person she looked at was clearly me. Qin Shaiyu didn't participate in the discussions of his subordinates, he frowned and his expression was a little weird. Although he was surprised when he saw the little lady in the carriage just now, he also had a very strange idea at the same time. He actually thought that the other party should be delicious. Is this something wrong with him, or is there something weird about the pretty lady in the carriage? The sudden appearance of strange appetite made Qin Shaiyu uneasy. He didn't have the heart to eat noodles anymore, put down the bowl, and turned to look at Zhu Zaihokai next to him. Zhu Zaihokai didn't take it seriously at first. While discussing the past teams and beauties with his colleagues, he ate noodles. But Qin Shaiyu's eyes were so strange that his heart was trembling when he saw it, and he had to ask, "Sir, why are you looking at me all the time? Is there something wrong with me?" "It's all right, let's continue eating your noodles." Qin Shaiyu averted his eyes and looked at Monk Ma and the others. After a while, everyone was horrified and their butts felt cold. Qin Shaiyu breathed a long sigh of relief, and secretly rejoiced, "Fortunately, it's not my problem, I didn't become a monster who wants to eat people." It turned out that he was staring at everyone just now to confirm whether he really had an appetite for people. Turns out, that wasn't the case. No matter whether he looked at a few of his subordinates or looked at other people on the street, he never had the idea of this person should be delicious. On the contrary, because watching Zhu Zaihokai, Monk Ma, and others for too long has affected his appetite and lost his appetite. Since it's not my problem, then the little lady on the carriage is weird. She's a monster? She opened the curtain and looked at us because she wanted to remember our appearance, so as to prevent us? Or, she wanted to treat us start. Thinking of this, Qin Shaiyu's eyes flashed a cold light. He felt that this matter had to be clarified, so he whispered to Zhu Zaihokai, "Go and check the origin of the team just now, as well as everyone's details. Investigate secretly, don't let them notice." Zhu Zaihokai held the noodle bowl and asked with a wicked smile, "My lord, did you like the little lady in the carriage? If you want to check it out, just go. Where did you come from these nonsense?" Qin Shaiyu didn't tell Zhu Zaihokai that he checked the caravan not because he liked the little lady in the carriage, but because he wanted to eat her. Even if he said this reason, Zhu Zaihokai and others would probably misunderstand the meaning of eat. "Yes, I'll go check it now." Seeing Qin Shiai's serious expression, Zhu Zaihokai guessed that things were probably not what he thought, so he put away his laughter and put down the bowl, walked out of the noodle stall quickly, and disappeared on the street corner. Qin Shiai took the monk Ma and the others back to the town demon yamen. Because he was busy all night yesterday, Qin Shiai asked his subordinates to take turns to rest in 2 batches, while he continued to squat in the palace book, waiting for the ghost in the painting to appear, and practiced Qinggong by the way. After half an hour, Zhu Zaihokai returned to the town Yaisi Yamen and reported to Qin Shiai, "My lord, the previous convoy, the fragrance garden in the city is about to open, and they spent a lot of money to invite famous prostitutes from the state capital." Famous prostitute? Yes. The beautiful lady we saw was the top card in Chunxiang building in the prefecture, and her name was Ruan Xiang. The other people in the carriage were also the top card in various brothels in the prefecture. Soft Xiang? I smelled Xiang, but I don't know how soft she is. A few wrestlers looked longing. But it's just a longing. The consumption of brothels is very high. If you want to try how fragrant and soft the top Warren is, you don't know how much money it will cost. They are absolutely unaffordable. Monk Ma proclaimed the Buddha's name, shook his head and sighed. In today's world, many people can't even afford to eat, and there are still brothels opened, and they are doing so much fanfare. That's right, aren't they afraid of losing money? A wrestler replied, "How much does it cost to hire so many top Warren? How many times is it enough to dance the sand dance?" Monk Ma was stunned. This is not what he sighed. You don't understand, right? The worse the world is, the better the brothel's business is. Zhu Zaihokai sneered and said, "No matter how good or bad the world is, the people who suffer will always be the common people. The so-called Zuman's dog stinks and the road has frozen bones. That's the reason." Qin Shiai frowned and interrupted, "Don't complain about these words. If you are listened to, you won't have your good fruit to eat." Zhu Zaihokai face changed slightly, and he quickly said, "What the Lord taught me. I only dare to complain in front of you and my brothers. When there are outsiders, I will never say such words." Qin Shiai nodded slightly and did not continue the topic. After pondering for a moment, he made an arrangement. "You have brought people to stare at Piaoxi Anglo these days. If something is wrong, let me know as soon as possible." "Yes." Zhu Zaihokai agreed immediately, then lowered his voice and asked, "Your Excellency has doubts about the people in the team? Is it Ruan Xiang? Qin Shiai didn't answer directly, he just said, "Keep an eye on it first, it's best if you don't have any questions." "Clear." Zhu Zaihokai nodded and asked no more questions. He picked out 2 smart men from the wrestlers, put on casual clothes with him, and went to Piaoxianglu to keep an eye on them. 2 days passed in the blink of an eye. In the past 2 days, Qin Shiai has been careful and cautious enough to guard against the possible revenge of the ghosts. On the side of the Yaisi of Luokeng town, the whole city was searched for the case of the Black Lotus sect and the ghost in the painting. Although a few followers of the Black Lotus sect were found, there was no clue about the ghost in the painting at all. On the other side of Piaoxi Anjiayuan, Zhu Zaihokai and a few wrestlers kept an eye on them day and night, but the news returned was that everything was normal. Whether it was Ruan Xiang or the other famous prostitutes in the convoy that day, they all stayed in the Piaoxiang courtyard. As for the team of escorts who escorted the convoy, they left Luokeng on the same day. In addition, Xueqing Shan, who went to Fangting County to suppress the chaos of the Black Lotus sect, never came back. It wasn't because of an accident, but after eradicating the Black Lotus sect in Fangting County, he went to the prefecture city and reported the details to the Qinhu official of the Yazhu Town Demon Division. This afternoon, Qin Shiai was on the school grounds asking his colleagues for lightweight exercises. One of his wrestlers hurried to find him and told him that Xueqing Shan was back and wanted to see him by name. When I saw Xueqing Shan, my brother-in-law had a stern look on his face, Obviously he had just returned from the journey. After dismissing the others in the room, Xueqing Shan pulled Qin Shaiyu to sit down and first praised, "As soon as I came back, I heard about your achievements in the past 2 days. First, you killed the ghost in the painting, and then found out about the Black Lotus sect infiltrating Luokhang to preach. It's very good. This time, there is no more people dare to gossip about you." Although Qin Shaiyu inherited his father's business according to the rules, he was still young and his cultivation was not high. After he became a small flag officer, he still caused some gossip. Only because Xueqing Shan was there, no one dared to give him eye drops or shoes. It's all luck. After a few words of humility, Qin Shaiyu said regretfully, "It's a pity that the ghost behind the scenes who drove the ghost in the painting has never been found. Don't worry, I will arrange for a veteran to investigate this case. It's impossible for the ghost behind the scenes to stop like this. As long as it dares to come out and harm people, we will be able to find it and kill it." With this promise from my brother-in-law, Qin Shaiyu can relax a little bit. Immediately afterwards, he took the initiative to report the matter of following the Piaoxianjai Yuan. After listening to Xueqing Shan, he calmly asked, "Do you suspect that there is something wrong with the people in the convoy?" "Yes, especially the Warren named Ruan Xiang. What's the reason?" Qin Shaiyu hesitated for a moment, then said, "Intuition. Does it count?" "Can't say it's appetite." Xueqing Shan did not reprimand Qin Shaiyu for being foolish, but nodded and said seriously, "Forget it." Because of his strong blood, Wufu often has a high sense of danger and evil spirits. So in the Demon Suppression Division, intuition can really be used as a reason to start an investigation. After thinking about it, Xueqing Shan said, "I will send someone to watch the Piaoxianjai Yuan later, so you don't have to worry about it." "Okay." Qin Shaiyu wished that a master would come forward. However, what Xueqing Shan said next made him stunned. "You put everything in your hands first. I have a task for you here. In Mianyuan County, children have been missing in the past few days. It is suspected that there are ghosts at work. You bring someone to check." "What?" Qin Shaiyu looked astonished. "What about wretched growth? Why are you pushing me out? So love disappears, right? Brother-in-law, didn't you tell me to stay with you to study? Why did you suddenly change your mind?" Xueqing Shan spread his hands and said helplessly, "How could I know that you are actually in the eyes of the nobles? This time I went to the state city to report the situation. Zhou Qunhu specially told me that you are valued by the nobles, and let me add some burdens to you. Cultivate it well." "Your Majesty." Qin Shaiyu felt very strange. He didn't know any nobles at all. So, where did this noble man come from? Do you still value him? Does it really matter? Or something else? "Brother-in-law, who is this noble person? I want to thank his 8th ancestors." Qin Shaiyu said thanks, but in his heart he gritted his teeth with hatred. The noble's words of importance made him unable to continue to fish and continue to live, and he had to be forced to open a business to face ghosts and dangers. How could he not hate it? Although Xueqing Shan thought what he said sounded strange, he didn't think much about it, shook his head and said, "I don't know the name of the noble, Zhou Qunhu didn't say it, so I can't ask." Qin Shaiyu rolled his eyes at him with contempt, "Are you not good to ask? You obviously don't dare to ask. Look at your cowardice, why don't you dare to fight Zhou Qunhu?" Xueqing Shan noticed Qin Shaiyu's gaze and couldn't help frowning. "What is your expression?" "It's nothing." Qin Shaiyu quickly put away his contempt. Brother-in-law couldn't beat Zhou Qunhu, so there was no problem in dealing with him. He hurriedly changed the subject. "Brother-in-law, I don't even know the nobles, how can I be valued by the nobles? What did he like about me? Are you interested in my handsome looks? Or is it because of my flexible tongue? Wouldn't it be because I could eat it?" Probably because of the previous case. Shueqing Shan seemed to really know something. Qin Shaiyu hurriedly asked, "Which case?" "It's the case where my father was seriously injured and had to quit the Demon Suppression Division and put you in bed for 3 months. Shueqing Shan sighed. "In that case, Luoqing Town Yaesi lost more than 100 night watchmen, and it has a great impact. Those of you who came back alive will naturally be noticed by the above." Qin Shaiyu keenly caught a key point. A few other people who came back alive are also valued by nobles. Yes. Shueqing Shan nodded. Before you came here, I had already informed them about this. Several people were all excited and expressed their desire to make achievements and repay the respect of the nobles. Some people asked me on the spot and took the initiative to take over several dangerous tasks. Said to show it to the nobles. Qin Shaiyu recalled that on his way over, he did see a few emotional colleagues. That cheerful look is like winning the Menkei Grand Prize. He was still wondering at the time, what good things happened to these people, and they were so excited? Unexpectedly, it was because he was valued by nobles. Qin Shaiyu suddenly thought of something, and hurriedly asked, "My father is also valued by nobles?" Shueqing Shan shook his head and said, "Zhou Qianhe didn't mention our father's name. It is estimated that he was not attracted by the nobles. After all, he has already quit the Demon Suppression Company." "That's good." Qin Shaiyu breathed a sigh of relief. He was not like a few of his colleagues. He was overjoyed and excited because he was valued by the nobles, thinking that he had climbed a high branch and wanted to rise to the top of his life. On the contrary, he was still vigilant, feeling that things were not that simple. There are so many night watchmen who escape from the dead every year, why do nobles take a fancy to a few of them? As the old saying goes, be diligent at all times, and be a traitor or a thief. I'm afraid it's not that the nobles value it, but that the nobles urge your life. Qin Shaiyu thought in his heart. Originally, he had no idea about the previous case. After all, this world is full of weirdness and danger, and it is not uncommon for the entire army to be wiped out because of information errors. But now, this sudden appearance of noble people's attention has made him suspicious. The previous case was probably not easy. Thinking of this, Qin Shaiyu lowered his voice and asked, "Brother-in-law, what happened to the previous case?" Shueqing Shan said stunned, "You ask me? You are the actual participant. Don't forget, I was transferred after the fact, and the files I saw were recorded based on your oral complaints." Qin Shaiyu frowned. His memory of this case was to surround and kill a group of demons, but the information was wrong. The strength and number of demons far exceeded expectations, causing them to suffer heavy casualties and almost wipe out the entire army. However, it now seems that there may be some hidden secrets in this case. It's just that those of them who came back alive are all too low level, and no one knows the inside story. Even Qin Shaiyu guessed that even the former Luoqing city Yaesi Bei Huguan was also kept in the dark, otherwise he would not have died in this case. But it was precisely because they didn't know the inside story that the so-called noble did not kill them directly, but instead showed a valued tone. In this way, their superiors will naturally assign them more tasks and exercise them. In today's situation where demons are rampant and crises are rife, doing more tasks means taking more risks, and it's easy to die in the line of duty. The reincarnation rate of Zhen Yaesi has always been high. And if these people died because of the mission, no one would suspect the nobles. Even the deceased and their family members will not complain, they will only feel that they are incompetent and unlucky, and they are ashamed of the respect of the nobles. This trick of borrowing a knife to kill is really ruthless. Even if they are lucky enough to survive through dangerous missions and make achievements, it doesn't matter to the nobles. Because most people will be grateful to him, and will feel that their achievements and promotions cannot be separated from the respect and cultivation of nobles. He will even take the initiative to serve the nobles and use them to gain a better future. Just look at the excited colleagues outside, I wish I could immediately hug the nobleman's thigh and call me dad. It was really sold and helped to count the money. This noble man is definitely an old yin. Qin Shi made a judgment in his heart. At the same time, he secretly made up his mind, sooner or later, I will find out who this noble person is and his purpose. If he really wants to harm me, I have to kill him no matter what, and completely eliminate the danger. As for now, it is better to continue to live in the Demon Suppression Division and work hard to improve your strength. Qin Shi thought of this and asked, Brother-in-law, can I not go to Mianyuan County? Can't I stay in Luocheng to perform other tasks? Compared with the townships and counties below, it is undoubtedly safer to stay in Luocheng. Moreover, the town demon secretary is also in the city, so it is convenient to call for reinforcements. Xueqing Shan saw his worry and explained, the current priority of the Luocheng Yaesi is to hunt down and eradicate the Black Lotus sect. If you stay in Luocheng, you have to deal with the Black Lotus sect, and the danger will only be greater. In comparison, it is safer to investigate cases of missing children. Reading www.yuyuganshu.com. Don't worry, there have been cases of missing children before, either by Pai Hanako using Jianghu tricks, or by demons such as He Yan. No matter which one it is easier to deal with than the monsters of the Black Lotus sect. Moreover, in Mianyuan County, there is Zhang Shilang, who is returning to his hometown. There are also children in his family. Although they are not missing, they must be worried. If you can solve this case as soon as possible, I don't think Shilang Zhang will help you with a few good words. Although he has retired, his disciples are many old friends. He said a few good words, better than you have worked hard to solve several major cases. When Xueqing Shan said these words, his tone was full of emotion. He must have experienced some things before he had such feelings. That's all right. Qin Shi thought about it for a while, and felt that whether it was Pei Wazi or Hei, they were indeed easier to deal with than the Black Lotus sect demons. It seems that my brother-in-law's love has not disappeared, and he is still very caring for him. And Xueqing Shan's love is more than that. He then said, after all, this is your first time to officially lead the team on a mission. I will write a warrant for you. You go to the spiritual room to get 2 supernatural items, just in case. That's what you said. Qin Shi's eyes lit up instantly. He had seen the power of supernatural objects before, and it was indeed amazing. With supernatural items, the danger of this mission can undoubtedly be reduced a lot. I just don't know if these supernatural items can be eaten, and are they delicious? What are the benefits of eating? Qin Shi swallowed. When Xueqing Shan saw this scene, he couldn't help shivering. Suddenly, he felt as if he had made a bad decision. Qin Shi didn't give Xueqing Shan a chance to go back, and urged him to get the warrant. After carefully putting it away, he said, Brother-in-law, tell me in detail the case of the missing child in Mianyuan County. Now that you have taken over the task, you must be fully prepared. In addition to equipment, knowledge of the case is also a must. Okay. Xueqing Shan suppressed the inexplicable anxiety in his heart and introduced the case. According to the report of the night watchman in Mianyuan County, since last month, there have been many cases of missing children in Mianyuan County. In the beginning, the local government just regarded it as an ordinary abduction and trafficking case, and dispatched arresters to investigate. But it didn't take long for the arresters who participated in the investigation to die tragically at home. The cause of death was a mystery. Only then did the local government realize that the case was not easy, and hurriedly reported it to the night watchman. Listening to Xueqing Shan's remarks, Qin Shi had a general understanding of the case of the disappearance of children in Mianyuan County. This is not a small case of missing 2 or 3 children, but a chain of cases involving dozens or hundreds of missing children. And the number of missing children is still increasing. This shows that the evil of stealing children has not paid attention to the officials and night watchmen in Mianyuan County at all, and is still committing crimes arrogantly. Of course, the officials and night watchmen in Mianyuan County are indeed not very powerful. Although they tried their best to investigate, the progress was slow, and no useful clues have been found. Not to mention eradicating evil spirits and rescuing missing children. The local people in Mianyuan County were panicked by this case. Especially if there are children at home, it is called nervousness and panic, for fear that the next one who goes missing will be their own child. Faced with enormous pressure, the Mianyuan County government and the night watchman could only ask for help from the higher authorities. So this case was submitted to Luokang Town Yoji Lai. After Xueqing Shan finished telling the case, he said, "That's the situation, do you have anything else to ask?" Qin Shai raised a question, "Brother-in-law, this case is a bit complicated, and even the local snakes can't find any clues. I'm a rookie, what can I find out?" Xueqing Shan had already made arrangements for this. Zhu Zioki under your command is the expert investigator I specially assigned to you. With his help, I should be able to find clues. Besides, isn't there me? If you really encounter difficulties, send someone back to find them. I'll call a master to help you. With Xueqingshan's assurance, Qin Shaiyu felt relieved and said with a smile, "Thank you, brother-in-law, brother-in-law is really nice." Xueqing Shan shuddered suddenly, and the hairs on his whole body stood on end. If the sister-in-law said this, Xueqing Shan would feel comfortable all over, but it came out of Qin Shaiyu's mouth, how could it be so disgusting? Xueqing Shan waved his hand in disgust, "Hurry up and pack your bags and leave today, but Mianyuan County is in a hurry. As for our parents, you don't need to worry about them, I will inform you after I leave the office." Them? Yes. Qin Shaiyu nodded and agreed. After saying goodbye to Xueqing Shan, he went straight to the poor room. Xueqing Shan sent him out, looking at his back as he walked away, he couldn't help but muttered in a low voice, "Why didn't our mother and father have another little daughter?" Shaking his head regretfully, he turned around and went back to the house to continue dealing with the affairs he had accumulated over the past 2 days. Qin Shaiyu returned to the poor room, gathered his men together, and told them about the mission. Unlike Qin Shaiyu, the subordinates were very happy when they heard that they had a mission. Because there is a bounty for completing a task, and if you complete it, there will be additional rewards. In addition, you can accumulate merit. Whether it is the warriors who want to be promoted to parade and shackles, or Zhu Zioki and Monk Ma who want to become officials from officials, they must accumulate enough credits. So when they heard there was a mission, it was like a hungry wolf smelling blood, and their eyes were all red with excitement. Even Monk Ma was no exception. While proclaiming the Buddha's name, he said, "Whether it's Peiwazi or Heiji, I must save a few more." Of course, they are also very clear that there will be dangers in going on a mission. It's just that compared with danger and demons, they are more afraid of lack of money and power. Seeing the reaction of his subordinates, Qin Shaiyu swallowed the words he prepared to boost his morale. These guys can't wait to scream, where do you need him to boost morale? Just about giving him a boost. Let's go, get the equipment. Qin Shaiyu greeted him and took his subordinates out of the business room to the arsenal. After showing Xueqingshan's warrant to the night watchman guarding the arsenal, they were allowed to enter. Qin Shaiyu entered the arsenal, first looked at what equipment was inside, and then instructed Zhu Zioki and others, bring a few more knives for easy replacement, as well as an extra pair of armor. Are there any that will make long soldiers? Pick a few and bring them. There are also shields, crossbows, and hidden arrows, all of which can be brought. What? Zhu Zioki and Monk Ma were a little confused. Aren't we going to investigate cases of missing children? Why are you acting like you are going to fight a cult monster? Do you need to bring so many weapons and equipment? After hesitating for a while, Monk Ma finally couldn't hold back and persuaded in a low voice, "Sir, we don't need to bring so much equipment, right?" Qin Shaiyu's attitude was very firm, "Take it. It's better to have more than less, and be prepared. Seeing this situation, Monk Ma, Zhu Zaihokai, and the others stopped talking, and took the equipment according to Qin Shaihu's request. Soon, Qin Shaihu, who took a few knives and chose 2 pairs of armor, noticed that the things stored in the corner of the arsenal didn't look like weapons. He raised his hand and asked the arsenal manager, who was sweating coldly, "What's there?" While wiping the cold sweat on his forehead with his sleeve, the arsenal manager replied, "It's flying tiger claws, incense and other sundries." He has managed the arsenal for so many years, and this is the first time he has seen someone receiving so many weapons and equipment. "You thought this was a vegetable market, and came here to stock up? With so many weapons and equipment, do you want to make yourself an iron hedgehog?" However, the warrant brought by Qin Shaihu was signed by Xueqing Shan himself. Moreover, it was written above that Qin Shaihu and the others were allowed to take more weapons and equipment. Coupled with the relationship between Qin Shaihu and Xueqing Shan, the arsenal managers were neither angry nor afraid to speak out about their purchasing behavior, and they had to cooperate fully. Flying tiger claw? Mexiang. Qin Shaihu thought about it for a while, then turned his head and instructed Zhu Zaihokai, "Go get some and bring them. By the way, see if there are any other useful sundries, and get some." "Yes." Zhu Zaihokai nodded and took the lead. Anyway, he already had a lot of weapons and equipment, so it wasn't that bad. Qin Shaihu, however, remembered something, and hurriedly added, "By the way, there are also cloud-piercing arrows that send signals, so take more." "Okay." Zhu Zaihokai replied. The monk Ma and the wrestlers next to him were very surprised when they heard Qin Shaihu's new order. "They can still understand with more cloud-piercing arrows, so let's call for reinforcements. But what do you bring things like flying tiger claws and fragrant incense? We are here to investigate the case, not to go over the wall and be admitted to the hospital to pick flowers." On the other hand, Zhu Zaihokai realized once again, "My lord, I expected the enemy to be lenient, so as not to be caught off guard and helpless in the event of an emergency." Immediately afterwards, he boasted, "These arrangements, my lord, are quite the art of war, and the capital of famous generals." Qin Shaihu laughed dumbly, raised his finger and pointed at Zhu Zaihokai, as expected of someone who has read books, he should talk more. Immediately afterwards, he called 2 wrestlers for help, and put on the armor he had just received. He put on a large burqa outside, and after tying up the cuffs and neckline, the armor was hidden in the burqa, and it was not easy to be found. While wearing the armor, Qin Shaihu also took out a bronze mirror with talisman paper from his chest. Originally, he wanted to put this bronze mirror away, but after thinking about it, he put it back on his chest. Multiple protections, multiple security. Close fitting and more caring. Zhu Zaihokai, Monk Ma, and others were not surprised by Qin Shaihu's behavior of wearing armor. Now in this world, the order in the city is better, and outside the city, it is really a crisis at every step and danger everywhere. Especially when they went to Mianyuan County, they had to go over mountains and mountains. Even if you don't encounter demons and ghosts on the road, you may encounter bandits, wolves, and beasts. Putting on armor in advance is better than being in a hurry when attacked. At that time, just put on the helmet, you can rush to kill the enemy. So, it's not just Qin Shaihu. After they get their equipment, they also have to wear armor. "You guys get the equipment here, I'll go to the spiritual room to pick up some supernatural items." After putting on the armor, Qin Shaihu took 2 sleeve arrows and carried them close to him, then gave an order, and then turned around and left the arsenal, leaving everyone looking at each other in dismay. "I heard it right? Are you still going to pick up supernatural items? Are we really going to investigate the disappearance of children this time? Weren't we going to fight the cult demon?" In the hearts of Zhu Zaihokai, Monk Ma, and others, question marks appeared one after another. And the arsenal manager looked at Qin Shao's back, and whispered in his heart, "This person is designated a little wrong."